As you gear up to retirement, there's a lot of things you need to start thinking about. And this could be 5, 10, even 15 years away from your retirement date. The very first thing might be a little obvious, but make sure you have a financial plan. Make sure you have a retirement plan. Make sure you know how much you have, where it's going to come from, a tax plan, all of that. You need to understand where your income comes from. When you cut the cord and you stop getting that paycheck, you need to turn on your own paycheck. And where does that come from? How does it draw out tax efficiently? When do you start government benefits? There's a lot of decisions you need to make internally within that retirement plan. So if you don't already have a retirement plan, start putting that in place. And a question I get asked all the time is, like, when's a great time to start building out a retirement plan? Hopefully you have a financial plan, and that's something that you typically create 20s, 30s, 40s, talks about more how to save, how to pay off your debt, that kind of thing. When you gear to a retirement plan, which is more focused on things you need to do and structure for retirement, ideally 5 to 10 years from retirement. That's kind of the sweet spot. It gives you a bit of runway as you get closer to retirement, and it allows you to make those adjustments. Now, I'll say this, most people that hire us for a fee-for-service plan, retirement's tomorrow, or just a few months, or maybe even a year or two away. So it's usually a bit closer. So if you can give yourself a bit more runway, it's going to allow you to make those adjustments required to get to a better place in retirement. The second thing you need to focus on is your health and wellness. And there's kind of two pieces to this. As you get closer to retirement, it also means you're getting a little bit older and you need to start moving and taking care of yourself. I think a lot of us become more dormant as we get older. I know I do. As I start to get older, I really need to make an effort to get out there and move around. I watch my kids and they're constantly moving. I always wonder, like, how do my kids stay so small when they eat so much sugar and food and all that? And it's because they're moving all the time. And so I think part of getting close to retirement is looking at your health and wellness. Are you moving? Do you have activities to do? Like, how are you going to stay in shape and keep your body healthy and moving for you? The second piece of that is to make sure that you're getting annual checkups and reviews with your doctor and going in to see them. And if you have a good health and dental plan, this is a great time before you retire to get all those last minute things you need done, especially dental work. A lot of you will not have dental coverage when you walk into retirement. Some dental things can take 2, 3, 5 years to complete. So again, this is something you need to focus on and pay attention to as you get closer to retirement. The third item you want to focus on as you gear up for retirement is your social connections. And you might be a person where 95% of your social environment is at work. And when you leave work, does that social environment go away as well? For a lot of you, it will. And for a lot of you, maybe you want it to go away. But where does your social interaction and connections come from? And this might be a new connection for you as you head into retirement. Maybe you join, a lawn bowling club or whatever it is to kind of create that new social environment. And it's probably a good thing to do that before you actually retire. So if you get a lot of your social fill from work, before you cut that cord, find other social platforms and connections that you can lean into. It might be family. Like, for a lot of you, you're lucky you might have family and actually get along with your family. I know for me, that I look forward to that. I get along with my family. I have 2 brothers, of in-laws, all of that. You don't want to retire, cold turkey, have no social connections. You're going to go into a pretty deep rut. And I've seen it happen with clients. Now, you may be an introvert and hate that you have to deal with people at work, and you're looking forward to just kind of climbing up in your house and not talking to anyone. But that can be dangerous. Make sure you have at least 1 or 2 outside connections that you can stay connected to, you go for coffee with, whatever it is. Before we jump into the next 2 things you need to focus on, which are really important, I just want to thank our sponsor for this video, Passiv. Passiv is great for passive investors, new or established. If you're managing your own investing, Passiv is the tool. It allows you to be a better investor. You'll be more organized, make good investment decisions, and feel more confident in your portfolio. Passiv makes it so easy to connect your entire portfolio from your brokerage, which gives you incredible power over your portfolio. You can manage your portfolio and analyze it as one single piece, which saves you time and gives you the 10,000-foot view of your investment position that you're looking for. Passive notifications give you a feeling of freedom that your portfolio is self-managing while you're doing things more important to you. When the market changes or new cash hits your account, you'll be notified so you can decide what to do. Passive returns so much value in time and money because it eliminates the need for a spreadsheet, which I know many of you are using. So drop those spreadsheets. No more equations, no more calculating what you need to buy or sell and how much. No more logging in to execute those trades one by one. Set a target and have Passiv do the heavy lifting. All you need to do is execute the necessary trades you want in one click. Passiv will change how you look at your assets. If you're considering changes to your portfolio, you can even create model portfolios that will allow you to understand the impact of every move you make before you make them. I've personally used Passiv for quite some time now for my own personal trading accounts, just monitoring everything in one place. Again, I have stuff in a few different locations, and Passiv's been great to kind of consolidate everything in one view and keep a great close eye on it. Passiv Elite is a bargain at $99 a year. And for a lot of you that are Questrade users, if you're DIY investors, it's absolutely free. But don't worry, if you're not with Questrade, they do have a free account and there's no credit card required at account setup. So thanks so much, Passiv, for sponsoring this video. We really do appreciate it. On to number 4 is going to be hobbies and interests. And this might tie into that social connection piece, but you need to have some hobbies and interests. And the reality is that you've spent 40 plus hours a week at work. And a lot of that time will get filled with stuff that you never knew you could fill it with, but you need to find some sort of hobby, some connection, that kind of thing. What's going to keep you busy? And again, I've talked about it a lot. You know, when I've had some downtime, I often go do woodworking. That's kind of my hobby and side thing. And in the summertime right now is golfing. If I get a few minutes, I'll go golfing. I guess I need about 5 hours for that, but I try and get out golfing as much as I can. It's kind of a passion of mine. But what is yours? And if you're not sure, start exploring that. You don't want to explore it when you retire. You want to explore it before you retire. I think as you hit retirement, there's always been kind of social groups and hobbies and activities that you can do. But I would definitely say over the last 5 to 10 years, that's kind of ramped up. Like pickleball is a big one. Pickleball, there's senior leagues and social events you can get a part of. So as you look at things you need to focus on, it's your health and social and activity and all that. Well, like pickleball or longbow, some of these things check off all those boxes. The 5th and final thing you need to focus on as you ramp up to retirement is your budget and spending. And for a lot of you, as we get older, as we get into our 50s and 60s, we don't really look at budgets. At least most of you don't. And if you do, good on you. But you're making good money, your mortgage is paid off, kids are out of the house, you're in a good financial position. And so running a budget just doesn't make sense anymore because I'm saving more than I'm spending, and that's a good budget. But you need to understand kind of where your money's going, because when you build a retirement plan with your financial planner, one of the questions they should be asking is, how much do you think you need in retirement? And you may not have that answer, but you should have a rough idea. If you don't know if you're spending $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 a month, and if you are spending on the higher end, like where's that money going? And are those expenses that may not be there in retirement? So work through a budget. We have a budget template. We can link that below. Download it, start tracking it. And the easiest way to kind of track a budget and figure out what you're spending is either go back for 2 months and look through all your credit cards, debit, all that kind of stuff. And this works if you don't pay cash, which most of you don't anymore. Or you go forward a couple months. So track everything going forward for a few months, but get a handle on what you're spending. So then when you meet with your financial planner, you can actually have a really good dialed in budget and idea on what you're going to spend so that your retirement plan, your cash flow plan really lines up with what you need. And then they can carve out that go-go phase of retirement to give you that extra spending money. And you know that extra money is going to be for travel and trips and things you want to do. I'm not saying you need to have a tight budget as you head up to retirement, as long as you can afford it. It's more understanding and having the knowledge of where your money's going so that when you head into retirement, that's a big stress for a lot of people. As you head into retirement, spending, not knowing where it is, kind of cash flow, all that, that's a big stressor for people. So if you get a handle on it before you retire, it's going to ease that stress. It's going to allow your planner to build a proper cash flow plan. And it's just going to walk you into retirement in a much better financial position and a mental headspace around your money.